Says so right there.
All righty then. Hello, friends. Hello.
Hey, dear, how are you? Good to see you.
This is wonderful. Hello, this is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching OBBM Live. This is our special and our response to what's going on with our shelter-in-place order, because like you, all of our lives just kind of blew up and went in a very different today. So I'm showcasing our hosts and our guests and our members and any local business. Get in touch with me if you'd like to be a part of these lives. I'm doing 3 of these every single day until the shelter-in-place order is lifted. You will get the video. Hey, John Chester, you're rocking it.
Susan Hamilton, how are you, dear?
I'm doing well, and like you, we're adapting with whole families. We've got multiple spouses in the home working, and we've got children, and we've got lifestyles that are happening, and today got cash, didn't it? We got really casual. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, Ty doesn't look good with a t-shirt, so I'm smarming it. I'm just doing it without.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're having to adapt. And before we went live, you told me a little bit about some of the things that you're doing, which get me really excited because in your industry, this is a concerning thing. We have to make sure we are loving our people through the tough stuff. And you've recently had new contracts. Tell us about what's going on.
Yeah, so what we're doing is here at Chester 2 Music Therapy, what we're doing is there's still the need. I contracted a lot of various sites, be it head trauma, geriatric care, memory sites, things like that. And when you remove that care, because I would go 2 times a week to some of them, more to others, and that schedule gets upset and they notice. Now you sit there and go, well, they have memory issues. They don't really, yeah, they do. Because there's still a missing spoke in that wheel to where they notice there's something that's just not the way it was. So what we're doing now is we're doing telemedicine. And before that, I'm just going, I can't believe that's even a bag, man. How could that really work? But in reality, what's going on is you have, first of all, this will never, I'm going to say this right off. This is not going to replace reality, touch, you know, and because of the overtones, which are the actual sound that's unrecordable, live music will always be most important and always be first and tantamount in treatment. So what we're doing, again, going back to telemed, we're doing that, and we're setting up, a lot of these facilities have huge widescreen TVs. They set up a camera. I have a camera at home. We're in the middle of revamping my office to be, instead of just a place where I can write and do a couple of lives, now it's becoming a streaming site to where we're going to work on this wall here, and we're going to make it more plain, because all this, for example, this stuff back here, cute dogs, I love my dogs, but all this stuff back here to their impaired vision is going to be kind of a ball of blur.
Yes.
So we're going to make it real plain. They'll still be able to sing. We're working on a bit of a lag, but that's going to happen, and we're still going to get the treatment out to them as a start, to where at least we'll have the relationship continuing. Because, and people go, well, that's not as good. Okay. Remember decades ago, for those of us older remember, and even my kids practice pen pals, when you get a letter from somebody, and if it was, if it was a girl, for us guys that would get a letter from the girl, they would spend a little perfume on it, or they put swack on there or whatever. And was it as good as the original? Well, of course not. But something is better than nothing. And when you care about people, and when you know that these people are still hurting, they're still lonely, because all these people in healthcare are feeling right now very isolated, because you may not know this, but they also have separated them, kept them out of their day rooms. They're not allowing them in their day rooms. They're keeping them in their rooms. So behaviors are shooting up, and they're having all kinds of issues with that.
No, it's huge. And yes, the isolation factor. And don't you know that is it, because we need that community. And that's what I really appreciate about the way that you share with people. I've had the pleasure of being your producer, director on set, and watch you have these conversations and watch you get to know these companies before you ever do. And that heart is there across the board. And everyone realizes we can do a better job in this community by touching and reaching and doing that. I love the connection that you've made with Silverado. That's wow. That's really
what great folks. What great folks.
Yeah, and I love the connect, and even this latest podcast that we've been sharing with Trevor Ferguson. How eye opening to bring those things to the public, because we get involved in our busyness, and I really think that's a huge plus to what's happened here. We've had to buckle down. We've had to really look at our families differently and pay attention. And I bet you there's a lot of us that have missed a few things. I know it was eye opening for my husband to be working here from home now and be part of everything's day to day during a work day. And that's just got to be the norm for a while. And it's good and it's not easy. And doggone it, we just gonna have to love each other through it. So John, how can people be reaching out to you and do business with you as a music therapist? And then also when it comes to sponsoring you, because your show is so integral, you are helping people far beyond the DFW area, because you're putting that effort into a really wise approach to your program.
Thank you.
How can people reach out to you to interact with you and work with you deeper?
My first connection would be at my webpage at ivorchester.com, IVOR Chester, one word, ivorchester.com. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, ivorchester3. I'm at Facebook at Had Enough Guy. Like, have you had enough? Had Enough Guy at Ivor Chester on that one as well. So Had Enough Guy on Facebook. I have a whole lot of articles I have posted. And on my webpage, I've got articles, but I've also got a blog and I've got videos that I've done there. And of course, the OBBM network. You can get all kinds of really valuable information, and not only from me, but you got Clint on there, and you've got so many other people that are just pouring their hearts out, because we all see what this isolation can really be quite damaging. So we've got to start with at least a kind of touch that is informative and nurturing to get people out. That's
so these are the Yes, and these are the challenges really that we have. So you are working currently with hospitals. Tell us a little bit about the range of facilities that you work in and that you're known professionally in.
I've had experience working in psych, from what they call pediatric, which are the little kids from age 4, up to geriatric, which is as old as they make them. I've dealt with over 100-year-old people. I've been doing this so long, I've worked with people from World War I, and all of those vets are now gone. So it's a real age. I've worked in psych, geriatric care as far as wellness, head trauma. Got a lot of work in that I've been loving to do, because I'm a head trauma survivor. Also, the reason my heart's into psych is because, I used to have depression from age 12 to 48, and it made me homeless back in 1979 for several months. And I crawled out of that, and I was put into a psychiatric hospital for several months to try and get my feet back underneath me. And I realized how music was beneficial that way as well. And it still is. Yes. So that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to let people know it's not just about singing a happy song. The music that you're listening to is going to impact the attitude that you have, and the beliefs and the goals and the health that you have. And if you're listening to stuff just like food, if you're putting it in wrong, if you're listening to the wrong stuff, you're eating the wrong stuff, it's going to affect you in a negative.
I think it is eating. It's feeding your spirit. And what we've got to really pay attention to is in the local family business space, when we really redefine who that is, who is our local family business. Well, everyone agrees. These are years ago stats. When I first started realizing it was 2014, I went, oh, that's the connection. Yeah, 80 to 85% of American micro to small business tend to be family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. That means they're building their business while they're raising their kids, taking care of their parents. They probably have a military, active duty, EMT, law enforcement officer in their family or workspace, because these guys are out there on the front lines. They're working really hard, but they work several days on, several days off, and they're industrious. Chances are they're supporting a local family business or have a business of their own between these guys. So this is really part of the fabric of our world. And right now in Dallas County, we're looking at about a 30 to 50% addiction rate. If we're not dealing with mental health, I promise you, the meetings that I go to, everyone says this across the board. What is the number one problem in your business? Employment. We have problems getting people in, getting people to stay, getting people to show up regularly, and to have them balanced throughout the day. I also did an interesting interview with a fellow called the security expert, Rod Rodriguez, and he was talking about, you know, how we've got to really think about the mental health when it comes to the concern of our communities. How do we protect ourselves proactively? We have tornado drills. But what do we don't have any idea how to react if somebody twists off on either as a member of our staff or somebody that walks through the lobby or somebody that just walks down the street. Our mental health in our communities, our suicide rate is through the roof with our officers, and it's through the roof anyway. So right now, you're absolutely right. When it comes to isolation, there couldn't be a more dangerous time for us to be ignoring that. So I just urge everybody to pay attention to what John Chester is talking about, because he's not kidding. He's right. We can program the right things, and it's not just for us. See, I love the goal-oriented approach you have, John, about, hey, we can rethink how we're thinking. We don't have to have those thoughts. We can have better thoughts. That's wonderful. But guess what? What we listen to and what we have around us affects everyone else. We can bring some peace to our workplace. We can bring peace to all the things, to our lobbies, to our communities, when we realize what it is, what people need to hear, and really just kind of think through a more positive way we're doing. So friends, I want you to follow the positive playlist hashtag. This is what we've developed for John, and this is a big deal. Let's start paying attention to this message and share him. You will hear from him again. And
yes.
You will hear from him again, because we're sharing the ever-loving heck out of it, because he is making a difference. What you got? You got a song for us?
Are we leaving? Are we done?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, well then it's time to say bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye. So long. Farewell. Bye, bye. So long. Farewell. Well, adios, arrivederci, sayonara. We'll see you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Okie dokie, artichoke. Until then, penguin. Bye bye.
Hey, go find him at Ivor Chester. Had enough guy. Make sure you're connected to John Chester. This is important stuff, and it's changing our community for the better. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate it, love.